Now, your teammate, Daniel Cormier, has been pretty vocal lately, and he even made a comment on Saturday that he would fight Ngannou for the heavyweight championship. And Josh, I got to tell you, I was very bothered by that because if you have a contender in Cormier, calling out a contender in Ngannou, how the hell do they deduce that it's going to be for a championship? Two contenders do not fight for a championship. You cannot have a championship fight if the champion doesn't show up. What am I missing there?
You're missing the fact that Stipe, the way he had done his interview, it sounded like he said, look, I really don't care what the fans think and what everybody else thinks. And that's kind of what I got. And when you have a champion that starts talking like that, he's willing to continue to sit out. And as a promoter, I've got money invested into building you up. And if you're my champion, I need you to be as active as you can. And that's, I think, kind of been the issue is I get it. He was dealing with some eye issues and then the COVID kind of hit. But look, a lot of these guys are able to start kind of getting some training. You're telling me you're a world champion and that you don't have a facility that you can just get into, whether it's your garage, whether it's your local gym, wherever you train, that they're not going to let the person, a world champion, UFC world champion, can't get in there behind closed doors with his trainer and hit mitts and do bag work and call up a buddy and be like, hey, let me get a couple rounds of grappling in. Like, just at least stay busy and keep going. So I think when that was said by Stipe, they started thinking about other avenues on how we can get this busy, because you got to say Francis Ngannou right now has been waiting patiently in the wings for all of this dust to settle, from when DC wanted to fight Brock Lesnar to when Stipe was talking about fighting Tyson Fury. It's been a fucking shit show in the heavyweight division. And so I think what it was is DC just finally was like, you know what, Stipe, if you don't want to fight, I'll go straight to Dana and say, hey, you know what, I'll fight Ngannou then for the title. And whether they strip him or not, maybe it could be an interim title, whatever it is. He just say, hey, Stipe didn't want to fight. I want to fight. They may strip Stipe. Stipe can come back and fight whoever wins between DC and Ngannou if that's the case. DC is going to be, I think, 42 here coming up in March, or maybe it just passed. I think he just turned 41 or 42. Anyways, somewhere in there. He doesn't have much time. And the longer this thing drags out, every month after you've already set a date for you to retire, it really does start wearing on you. Your mindset is not the same. Like I said, when I was talking about Henry, when fighters start saying things like, oh, I'm going to retire, or oh, I'm going to set a time frame of when I'm going to retire, it starts negatively working against how they train, things they do. They're already kind of in their mindset starting to retire. And then that affects their performance, and they're not the same fighter anymore. So I don't like to hear those things, but I think also that Stipe kind of did it to himself a little bit, and DC's just trying to get that title right as fast as he possibly can before Father Time catches up to him.
And Josh, I get all of those things as to why Daniel would want to get in there and get one more fight in if that's the goal. But to make it a championship fight seems like wishful thinking at the highest levels to me. Look, first off, if Stipe doesn't come and you strip him, that means it's for the undisputed title, a match of which Daniel would be favored to win, of which Daniel has openly declared will be my last match. So now you get rid of Stipe, you don't have a heavyweight champion, you bring Daniel in to pick up the championship, now you don't have a heavyweight champion. So it would seem as though, in a best-case scenario, that would be for the interim championship. Allow Daniel to walk away. Stipe and Francis got in with it. Possibly a way to solve the problem. I mean, if Daniel comes in and beats Stipe, which is very possible to do, maybe even likely, he leaves on time. That's a hard thing. I mean, that's a really hard thing to do. That might be a possible solution. I just don't know how crazy I am about the tone of a contender calling out another contender for a title fight. I don't believe we can have a title fight if the champion that holds the title doesn't show up for the fight.
I've always said this. I know that Dana owes DC a favor. That's why that's why he's doing this. My only thing is like, you really are putting your heavyweight division in a really weird situation, because I think DC beats Stipe. I think he beats him in the third fight. I think he beats him pretty easily and convincingly. It's going to be tough the first two rounds, but if he gets him down in those first two rounds, Stipe won't be the same fighter in the third, fourth, and fifth. And you see this a lot with heavyweights because they don't really get up off their back all that well. And I think DC's got the chance to go ahead and do that against him. We've seen, though, with Francis Ngannou, how much better he's gotten since his fight with Stipe. He's gotten so much better. His wrestling's gotten better. His ability to get up from the bottom has gotten better. He's put the use of the range and the distance a lot better. I mean, he just walked through I don't want to mess up his name, Rosenstrike. He walked through him this last weekend in 20 seconds. I mean, the speed is a factor. DC and Ngannou is a fight that scares me for DC. It just the speed, the length, the range, the actual real size of Ngannou is huge compared to DC. He's not a big guy. DC's what, 5'11", 5'10", 5'11", walking around 255 right now, I think, So by the time he gets in that cage, he'll be about 238. The size difference is going to be huge.
I fully agree. I fully agree. Listen, Ngannou's not an easy fight for anybody. And if you do look at it and go, okay, Stipe and Daniel, the only thing that's keeping Stipe and Daniel apart is the date, by the way. I mean, Stipe's over the eye thing. He's agreed to the money, the rules, the terms, the weight class, the whole bit. We have a date issue. It would seem, though, Josh, if we do find a way to get them together, and that would be my prediction, we'd get them together. What do you do with Ngannou? Because that's a totally different booking. You can't just throw Ngannou in there with somebody. Ngannou will hurt you and he'll send you to the hospital. You have a responsibility to put him in there with somebody who can defend themselves. And Josh, outside of those two, of Stipe and Cormier, I'm not really seeing another guy. I'm not sure that Ngannou doesn't need to be the first guy ever to just sit out and wait, however long that takes, and just be the number one contender. This is a dangerous guy. This is not just another athlete. This is a dangerous man.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone realistically. And here's the only issue is that the guy that I would really probably put him against would be Derek Lewis, but we've already seen that. I mean, it was a snooze fest. And so do you take a chance and potentially try to run it back? Is that what you do? Or do you just let it be? I don't know what the end result is on that.
Yeah, and even Curtis Blades is a great option in terms of being talented and youthful, and on paper he makes all the sense. He's a big guy. Josh, they fought twice. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. Not just once. They fought twice.
I didn't know that.
And Ngannou got him out of there in less than 3 minutes combined.
Wow.